So I've been thinking about this topic a lot over the past few months because in today's day and age, being a fat person that is trying to lose weight is a bit controversial, weirdly. And as a fat person, I don't really understand what has happened in the world around this topic. It's something that I've seen kind of deteriorate over 2016 until now. And I think that it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I think it might actually be fat acceptance itself is causing more problems than it's solving. As a fat person, I don't think I've ever felt like fat acceptance as a movement has helped me. There's never been a time in my life where I've been through something or I've experienced something and my life was made easier because of fat acceptance. But if anything, it seems like there may be some stuff happening that's causing the opposite. Where today, at least, and especially since 2020, I feel like it's getting worse and worse, and it's almost like unpalpable. Or it's not unpalpable, it's like you're unable to handle it anymore. Because it's just so much. And as you guys know, I did some shorts about Taylor Swift herself doing something which is kind of interesting. And, for me, I don't take it very personally when people are fat phobic, just because I don't have the mindset of trying to control other people's thoughts. I much would rather try to just control my behavior in my own life. I don't want to control how other people think. Fat phobia is real, but it's not as serious as other things. It'd be more similar to being alcoholic-phobic, or if you don't like people that have rainbow hair. Is it bad? I guess. Is it that bad? Not really. Is it, something that the people are choosing? Yes. And it's the same thing with fat. With being fat, it is a choice. And I get very frustrated with fat acceptance because they do not say this. They advocate that it is not a choice. It is absolutely a choice. It's not just a free choice made in a vacuum, but what choices of ours are free choices made in a vacuum? Nothing. There's always something pulling you towards this way or that way or different directions at once. There's always this type of thing going on with any decision you make. But at the end of the day, if you're an adult, you get up and you make the decision every single day to be fat. Just like if you want to change it, you have to get up every day and make the decision to lose weight or to not be fat anymore. So it's very frustrating to me because I am not a fan of fat shaming or fat phobia or treating people like shit because they're fat. I'm not a fan of that. And I do want to get into that stuff on this channel because there are a lot of really harmful things that people do to fat people that makes it worse or that will push you further into your fatness, essentially. But unfortunately, fat acceptance is even worse. Fat acceptance is something that can trap you in your addiction with zero way out. It protects you from getting help or protects you from trying to change. It makes you protect your own mind to not listen to any other arguments at all of anything. And to me, the hardest thing about being fat is not wanting to be anymore, trying something to change it and it not working. And I want people to understand that are thin or that are, that are concerned about this issue, that there's a big difference between being chunky and being morbidly obese. If you are morbidly obese, there are likely hormonal factors at play. It's not necessarily that it always was there. For some people it was. For some people, hormonal issues can make them obese without them realizing it. You just start putting on weight and you get into these other habits and all this stuff kind of happens. Or people develop hormonal problems within their morbid obesity that make it hard to get out of it physically. So I think what so many content creators about this issue do not understand is that fat people, especially morbidly obese fat people, are not on a level playing field with other people in terms of weight loss. Somebody trying to lose 20 pounds, it is not at all the same as somebody trying to lose 200. And I don't think people understand that. And they say, oh, well, just cut your calories. And that's true. You can cut your calories. But there is such a thing as adherence. And somebody that has a hormonal shitstorm going on in their body is going to have a much harder time with adherence than somebody who doesn't. Somebody who has just kind of a straight line. And so what I think a lot of thin people need to hear is that fat people are not always eating out of addiction. We are hungry. There is a genuine physical hunger. And it's crazy sometimes how strong it is. For me, I found a solution. I started looking into, seed oil consumption and hypothyroidism, and I started eating in a way to mitigate that and to fix it, essentially, and it is getting better, and now my hunger is less. Now I've been able to count calories for 2 or 3 months. I think we're going on, it's been 2.5 months. I've never stuck to calorie counting that long. What is that? 10 weeks? I've never done that in my life. Why am I able to? Because I did a lot of thyroid stuff beforehand for 1.5 years. So, but guess what? I was not helped at all. I was shamed for how I was trying to fix my thyroid. I was given horrific advice like to go vegan, which is horrifically detrimental to somebody who is morbidly obese. I can't think of a worse idea than to go vegan. And I've tried it many times being morbidly obese, and I felt like I was dying within 3 days. There are reasons for that. So you need to understand, and what I'm so sick of hearing from people who are thin, I'm so sick of the you are dying there, but I have all the expectations of you in the world in one sentence. You are dying, you have plaque in your arteries, you're going to die at 30 years old. So get your ass in the gym, work out really hard, don't eat any carbs, eat 1,200 calories a day until it's fixed. Just fucking do it. It hurts me because I know so many fat people that have had that experience. I am one myself, and it is so unhelpful. It is horrible to be fat, but it is even worse to try to lose weight because we have zero support. We have no support. It's not expected. It certainly is not gonna happen in the current climate. Because when I was doing things I needed to do to heal my thyroid, I had to eat a lot of meat. I had to eat a lot of sugar. I had to eat a lot of fat. But I had to avoid certain fats. The so-called good fats that the doctors say are good, which is a complete disaster of the medical institution. I cannot believe how awful medical science, how awful nutritional science is. It is horrible. It's no wonder it's getting worse and worse because their studies are so off, or they suppress some information and uplift other information. It is horrible. But I don't think I need to lecture anybody on how awful the health system is after the past 2 years. Let's get real. But when it comes to this issue, it is a nightmare. I will tell you that as a fat person. Doctors tell you to do something, you try it, it doesn't work. You try it, you're starving. You try it, you end up gaining more weight. You try it, you don't lose. You try it, it's not working out. And it's actually making your metabolism slower. And then you gain more. And then you gain more again. And then you try something else, and then you gain more again. You do it over and over again. And the thing is, the amount of hatred I got for eating meat as a fat person is insane. Meat is one of the healthiest foods for your body. And it is demonized on a daily basis. It's mind-boggling, the society that we're in. And I am so concerned because people they do not know what to do. People are lost. And so I think that a lot of people, being a fat person today and trying to lose weight, especially in the way that I am, I feel like I am a freak of nature. I feel like I have to fight everybody on all sides all the time just to do it. Because people will say, you don't need to lose weight. Oh, you're fine. Why would you think you need that? Just love who you are. All this stuff. And it's like, no, it's not good. And then you have the other side. You're disgusting. How could you do this? You're horrible. You're just, I was told so many things about myself from those Swifties. I was told I just accepted my insulin resistance and I've just accepted being obese and all this stuff. You have no idea what you're talking about. You do not know what somebody is doing. You don't know. I could have been, for all you know, I could have been 600 pounds and now I'm 350. You have no clue where somebody's coming from, where they're going. You do not know. Unless if you see certain behavior, but even then, you still don't know. You don't know where somebody's coming from. And at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to change. And what can you do about it? I don't know. It's sad. I've never wanted to be obese. I always knew I would get out of it. I just knew that I'd have to find a way. And so I did. I took it up on my own and I just said, I'm going to do this myself and I'm going to find it. And I believe I have. But what people don't get is I am alone in it. I am very alone. And I am a crazy person in the sense that I'm willing to do things by myself. I'm willing to do things if everybody disagrees with me. Most people are not like that. So realistically, if I was like a basic person, no offense to anybody, but if I was like a normal person and I was told, you don't have to lose weight, you're fine the way you are, I would hear it and I would listen. If I was a normal person, I would hear what people say about me. that I don't do anything, that I just accept this, that I'm horrible, that I'm disgusting, that I should shut up, fatty, that I should go away and this and that and whatever. And I would internalize that and I'd say, nobody's ever going to like me anyways. I'm trying so hard and nobody cares. So why should I even do it anyway? So think about it. Think about what it is that you're doing. Think about the effect it will have on the person. If you care about them, then you need to do things that would help them to change, not do things that force them more into their addiction or keep them locked in that mindset. Because the ultimate thing about most fat people is they feel like they can't do anything else but eat. Eating becomes your entire stimulus in the day. Eating becomes what you live for. Eating becomes everything to you because you're not doing anything else because you're so fat. So if you're treating somebody like shit at the gym who's fat, you're locking that person in being fat, while at the same time, I'm sure you're the kind of person that claims that you care about fat people's health. That's not caring for fat people's health. I am not one of those people where I hate thin people, I'm horrible towards thin people, I'm whatever. I'm not one of those people. I'm not. So I never trip about it. I have zero issue with thin people. I never, I don't think about this person as privileged and I don't, and this person is this way and I'm this way and blah, blah, blah. I don't think about that. I don't constantly compare myself to other people. I don't do any of that. I just look at myself and I look at where I'm at and where I've been and where I'm going. That's what I look at most of the time. And the thing is that even though I'm not that way, I don't subscribe to fat ideology, I don't subscribe to fat acceptance whatsoever, that doesn't mean that I accept fat phobia. That doesn't mean that I don't care about it or that I'm going to act like being treated like shit or being treated badly for being fat is somehow helpful. It's not. The only things that have ever helped me as a fat person from other people is when people encourage me to live my life. People encourage me to get out, to do things. In order to get somebody to want to lose weight, they need to see the possibilities in their life and they have to see how fatness is getting in the way. That is the number one way to get somebody to lose weight. And they have to see it for themselves. They're not going to see it if they're locked in their room. They're not going to see it if they're on a fat acceptance TikTok video and they're terrified reading all of these fat phobic comments. They're not going to see it then because they're going to say, oh my gosh, I can't go out. The fat acceptance people, they push the most toxic, horrific, propagandistic crap. They tell you you can't get a job. They tell you nobody will love you. They tell you, we have so many studies that show you're going to be broke and you're not going to have any money and you're going to be this and that and nobody's going to love you and people are just going to use you for sex and you're just going to, be treated like crap and you can never trust a doctor ever in your life if you're fat. And, the stuff that they say, if somebody takes that to heart, then you have a person that's never going to try to date. You have a person that's not going to try to get a job or try to get a promotion. You have a person who's not going to go to the doctor if they feel, if they need to go. They're not going to. They're not going to trust the doctor. You have a person who's not going to do anything like that. And on top of it, you tell them that if they ever lose weight, then they're going to be oppressive to you. So you're also not only putting them in a hole, but you're also throwing away the key For if you do lose weight, then you are evil. You are an oppressor. You become privileged, which is a very loaded term in today's world. It is horrible. It's serious. Morbid obesity is called morbid for a reason. This is not a game. And I don't say that to scare you guys who are in my position. But when somebody is in danger, I think it's best to have compassion. Most people are obese for a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest drivers of it is physical stress, because your system is broken down. So yelling at somebody or harassing somebody or doing something like that, it stresses somebody out. Traumatizing somebody further is going to make it worse. It's going to make the person less healthy. It's going to make the person less able to lose weight because it further shuts down the system. So what helps? Reducing stress. If you want to help somebody, you try, if you're putting everything on that person, a lot of fat people, they are the main breadwinners, or they work really hard, or they have to take care of everything. So it's the complete opposite of the stereotype. So sometimes, especially a lot of fat women, they are way overly stressed, and sometimes they need help. And that alone may bring down her weight. I want this channel to be for people who want to lose weight and for people who want to help people lose weight. Not just those issues alone, but not just weight loss, but that's who I'm speaking to right now. Because if you want to help, you absolutely can. Some of the most beautiful things that people have done for me at the pits of my despair, as far as my obesity, is tell me that I can do things. Tell me that I can date, I can get out, I can do something with my life. I can have dreams and accomplish them. Tell me that, I'm worth those things, that I have the ability to do it. And, having friends and stuff that push me for that, having family that supports my dreams, that has pushed me and, supported me to do certain things in my life that I really, really wanted to do. That is so, so, so important, because if all you have is food, you're never going to be able to stop eating. You gotta get out. You gotta live. It doesn't matter if your feet hurt. You go out and you have your feet hurt. It's worth it. Because then you'll think, gosh, how can I get my feet not to hurt anymore? That was so much fun. You gotta do things. You have to do the opposite of what society is having us do. Since 2020, it's crazy. Everything that has been encouraged by the government and the media, you need to do the opposite. You need to get out. You need to have fun. You need to live life. Overcome obstacles. That's how you build self-esteem. And that will help you create a desire to lose weight. I have a playlist on my channel about the steps that I've taken for anybody who's interested. I'll link it in the description. But that's really, really, really important. If you want to help somebody lose weight, find ways to lower their stress, if you have ways of doing that, and get them out of the house. Encourage them to chase their dreams, to go after things that they want, to live their life. And now I'll speak to fellow fatties. Don't ever listen to people that try to act like you are less of a person because you're fat. You're not. You have every right to your opinions. You have every right to your to voice those opinions. You have every right to your thoughts. You don't have to be nice all the time. You don't always have to be funny, but you don't also have to be a bitch all the time either. You can be whoever you are in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Don't put yourself in boxes, because the way that your mind is as a morbidly obese person, it already predisposes you to do that. And just pay attention to your thoughts. Am I putting myself in a box right now? Am I telling myself I can't do something for some reason? Try to think about those thought processes and unlearn it. Because you can. Once you start doing things, it gets easier over time. You build resilience. You get a different personality. You know, you don't act like a fat person anymore. I don't act like a fat person. I don't act like that stereotype because I don't internalize the label and I don't take it as a part of my identity. There are so many times in my life when I've had thin friends, or I've known people, or I've gotten to know people that were thin, especially guys, which is funny, but like I've had some guy friends where I was getting to know them and stuff, and we were going out, and they would tell me, I'm so surprised that you're willing to like do active things with me, or you're willing to go hiking and stuff. Like, that's so crazy to me. And it's like, oh, well, why wouldn't I? And it's like, sometimes I'd have to go slower or whatever, but it wasn't like a big deal to me because I don't internalize being fat. And I really implore you to stop doing that, because it's not who you are. It never has been. It's a state of being. It's okay. Like, there's this whole other aspect of who you are. There's probably parts of yourself that you haven't explored in years, or parts of yourself that you've forgotten, or even for some of you guys, if you're young and you've always been fat, maybe there are parts of you that you have never known. And how exciting is that, to get to know that person? And you don't have to lose a pound to start that process. So I think that's the most important step. And when you do that, you have to learn to not listen to strangers or to not listen to people all the time. Even people you love. Sometimes you have to think for yourself. You have to have boundaries. A lot of fat people do not have boundaries. It's a huge issue. So think about that as well. It's a process. It might be messy. But as you reclaim your identity as a full human being, you will find pursuing weight loss to be much easier, because the addiction aspect will fade. And then you just have the physical aspect to deal with, which is horrible as well, but it does get easier the longer you go. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to be making more videos on these topics. I'm definitely going to be making content, probably reacting to both fat acceptance and fitness channels that I find to be issues, or that I find to be impediments. But please do subscribe and like, because we're going to get into this. I think this is one of the most important issues of our time, because it's becoming a huge problem and it's only getting worse. Thank you guys so much for listening. I will talk to you guys another day. Goodbye.